Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Geek First Thought Bubble. I am Travis Snail, and let's get right down to it. La La Land. I've been waiting weeks to see this. This is the sad part about being Kelowna, little BC, is you wait when you see all the release dates when it's like limited, Los Angeles, this, and it's like all the dates where a movie comes out, and that very last one, that very one where you're like, man, that's far away. That's 2 months from when a lot of other people have seen it. That's us. And I got to see it tonight. This movie, a lot of hype going into, lots of hyperbole, lots of critics that I trust have ranted and raved about this. People like Scott Mantz, who's a much more smarter man than myself, but he's a man that I trust, and he's a man that it's always been kind of joked around whenever he's like, oh, that's the one that goes on to win Best Picture and whatnot. He's a very smart guy, and I was told and saw just so much praise for it. And there's lots of movies that happen in the Oscar year. I always feel like there's one movie that everyone loves, and I just not the biggest fan. I think last year was Spotlight. For me, just wasn't for me. A couple of years ago, The King's Speech, same thing. They're all not bad movies, but just didn't do it for me. So, win this movie, lots of hype going in, lots of expectations. I'll say that, and especially the cast, which I will get into. Phenomenal cast, director, phenomenal director. Whiplash, when it came out, was tied with Nightcrawler for my favorite film that year. I think it was 2014. Yeah, 2014. Tied with Nightcrawler as my favorite film, and that he really kicked down the door. So a lot of expectations going into this movie. It starts, and I guess to preference this as well, I don't like musicals. I can say hate. I know it's a strong word, but I've always found it cheesy. I've always found it never flowing with me personally. And it's never that they're bad movies. It's just like the two characters having a conversation, they break on song dance. I always just found it funny, and there's very few that I like, but I can't really engage. I can't really lock into it. It's a personal thing. Just has never been for me. The movie starts off with a big musical number, and that's exactly how I felt. I'm like, this is not for me. This is it's shot well, choreographed well, the singing's great, it looks beautiful. This movie is a beautiful film. Not for me. Give it 10 more minutes, a scene happens. I'm not going to go into big spoilers because I don't want to spoil it, or I don't want to spoil much of this movie. I think this movie you have to see for yourself to judge. A scene happens, it completely flips for me. I'm locked in for the hour and 50 minutes, and then looking back in that 10 minutes and what preceded it, or followed it, made me fall in love with those 10 minutes and made me fall in love with this goddamn movie. This movie is fucking incredible. This movie is so good, and I'm sorry to swear for people that don't like swearing, but holy fuck. All in capitals. I couldn't believe it. I actually couldn't believe it, because I've heard even people that are just I'm a big fan of Kind of Funny, and Tim Geddes, I saw him tweet out all I'm thinking about is La La Land still, and it's just all these people, everybody, people like Max Landis. I love Max Landis, big fan. All these people, and it's just I just really went in thinking I know so many different people from so many different groups that I somehow seem to like it, but I just don't think I'm gonna, and I just really went in thinking that this was not going to be for me, and man, was I wrong. This movie is incredible. Let's start with the cast. The cast. This is a movie that you fall in love with both Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. Both phenomenal actresses, both actors and actresses. Both who, I know I've talked about this last time with Amy Adams and Jake Gyllenhaal. This is the same for them. They're in the top 5 for actors in Hollywood now, maybe top 1. After this movie, it's really hard to debate it. Ryan Gosling is incredible. First of all, handsome as sin. Handsome as sin. Man, what he's wearing, what he's looked great. I think when we first saw how good he wasn't Drive, and it was when I fell in love with him was just the acting he could do with his face. He didn't need to say words, no emotions. He didn't need to say words, and all he did was show emotions, and you got it. That's the thing. Many times people can do that, and they leave things for you to infer, but they don't leave a big enough impression. He does every time. And then to fall out with Crazy Stupid Love a few years later, that's when he showed he had the talking and the acting down and the charisma. This movie for me is almost a combination of how good he is in Drive and how good he is in Crazy Stupid Love. It's like him putting together this fucking incredible stew, and it comes out perfectly. Like, it's a pitch perfect performance. And talking about pitch perfect, Emma Stone. Emma Stone kills it in every role she's in, but in this she fucking flourishes. She does so well. I could go on and on about these two, but Emma Stone really does a good job of making you root. They both do, but her character especially making you root for that character, making you fall in love with that character, and not in like a romantic like, oh, Emma Stone, she's a gorgeous woman, but she makes you fall in love with, you want to see this person succeed, you want to see them do good, you want to see them realize their dream. And that's what this movie is all about. It's about dreams, it's about love, it's about music, it's about being happy. It is about being happy. It is, but it's just like, it's the reason I laugh at that is because like I'm not a big fan of these type of movies, like the movies that, oh, the happy-go-lucky, you know. It's just like, it's just kind of like, okay, you never really buy it, and that's what happens in this movie. Between, and maybe sometimes you buy one of the leads, you buy a few of them, or you don't buy this. You buy everything in this movie. Everything works in this movie like flawlessly. Like there's nothing I would change about it, and that's where I'm gonna butcher his fucking name. But the director of Whiplash, what is his name here? I have it here. It's Damien Chazelle, I think. It's Damien Chazelle. I'm just gonna call him Damien because I'm not sure on the Chazelle part. But man, this guy, what a career he has. And from, it's funny, before this was announced, or before I saw it, I heard that he was doing like he's doing a Neil Armstrong biopic with Ryan Gosling, and I was like, oh, I really like Whiplash, but I don't really care, like biopic. I'll see, this is like a new Nolan for me. I'll see anything this guy does. I guess just to go on the obvious, the choreograph is, everything and this is why I understand now why people have been using such big words and hyperbole and just big describing words to describe La La Land. It's flawless again. The dance scenes and the musical numbers go from all spectrums to sadness to happiness to thrilling and exciting to emotional to dream catching, you know. And he does a great job at making you feel those emotions, but the actual shots and the scenery and the visuals, and you've seen them all, the main poster of them outside on the thing, there's the sunset and the backdrop and everything like that. And I'm not going to get into any spoilers on it, but the closing sequence is phenomenal. It really feels, it's not like an hour body experience, but you do feel like you're watching art. And this is a film that the only way to describe it is, maybe you're like myself, maybe you don't like musicals, maybe you're not into romance movies, maybe you're not into one of these actors, or maybe you're not into about the Los Angeles or, you know, acting, musician sort of thing. Maybe you're not into the whole, oh, I'm gonna chase my dream and I want to do this. It doesn't matter. You gotta watch this movie, because this movie, you fall in love with the characters. You fall in love with the small little world that they do with that build. Like, it is Los Angeles, but they build a whole other type of world and aura around Los Angeles. And quite honestly, this is a movie that makes me think about why this makes you fall in love with film cinema. This makes you fall in love with, or re-fall in love with, why you watch movies. Why you watch movies over again. Why someone like myself wants to write and direct movies. Why someone like myself and the other geekers people like talk and review movies. It's not, like, yeah, it is a fun thing, but we do it because at one point or another, films have done something for us. They've entertained us. They've got us out of a rut, whether that's a breakup or maybe a death in the family. They have made us laugh. They've made us cry. They've made us scared. They've made us excited. And this movie does every one of those things. You think about like a Star Wars, that's your excitement. You think about, I don't know, a Psycho from the 60s, that's your horror. You know, like, okay, take the horror part out. But everything good about a movie and everything that a movie can make you feel, that's what this movie does. And it's crazy good. Like, I'm running out of words. I'm running out of descriptive words. I'm trying to think about what else I can say. I think this is more or less just a movie you gotta see. You have to see. I guess I can get into that too. It's just, once again, back to the characters. The writing of this, It's on point. It feels, because this is the thing, for the first 10 minutes I did feel like it was going to get into that very musical, it is a heightened sense of reality, but they use it in sparing parts. And I guess maybe I'll talk on that before I get back to the writing. Is someone that does not, or is not the biggest fan of music, like I said, I kind of hate them. They use it sparingly and they use it right. It's not a full-on start to finish, like kind of thing like Nightmare Before Christmas, you know, where it's like 20 minutes of dialogue, singing scene, 20 minutes of dialogue, singing scene. It's spaced out and paced very, very well. But the other thing is, it's different take on musical things. Like, people have talked about this, and it is a love letter to old cinema. Like, and if you don't know that much, then it's not going to matter to you. I'm somebody that, I do like old cinema, but I don't, it's not glamorized for me as much because I didn't grow up in that era. You know, you have a lot of people, movie critics that grew up in the era, that got to see it. I watch those movies more as not chores or homework, but as studying film, and this does provide as a love letter to old cinema, but at the same time, it's its completely own thing. Like, it builds upon the past, and this is films that I want to see in the future. You know, it's this great mix of past, present, and kind of future. And the actual musical numbers, which talking about how it is a love letter to cinema, musical numbers are all different. It's not always, as little spoilers, but it's not always, your very first musical number is your classic Grease. Everyone getting up, singing, choreographed, blah, blah, blah. And then your next music number might just be two people beside each other, two people close to each other, singing just romantically one another. Next kind of musical moment, or I guess musical, is just a dance number, and it's done really well. And then the next time is just a man playing a piano for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. And they use it so right, and that's what I mean. I'm a person that I'm not, by the end, I didn't care when the musical stuff happened because it was so good and I was so enthralled in it. Where in other musicals, it might take away. Because this is the example. So the first scene happens musical, there's some dialogue, some story stuff, and then there's another thing of musical, and that's where I was kind of moaning and groaning, like this is not going to be for me. I can see it already. You know, it's great, but it's not for me. And then, like I said, there's a shift sort of in a way, but it's a very natural shift. It's not like jerks you. It's great. There's a great kind of semi-non-linear storytelling element there. But the way they do it is eventually the music really flowed with it. And that's where sometimes, I guess, that's where I thought with this movie that I was liking the story, and then the one time a musical number happened, I was like, oh, just get back to the story. Like, this musical number stuff's fine, but get back to the story. It didn't happen again after the only one time that it happened. And now when I go back and watch that, I don't think I'm going to feel like that at all, because it plays so well, and because I was more just, I saw that, I was more worried for what's to come, and that didn't come. Something great came. That's La La Land. But like with any other musicals, it is that dialogue, sing, dialogue, sing, dialogue, sing. But this was such a variation and a variety of ways to use music. It was great. And the actual music alone, the score, I am going to, the second this is done, be downloading it if it's available. I don't even know if it's available, but if it is, it's on my fucking Apple phone tonight. Thank you, Apple Music. I'm going to be, there's songs that make you like peppy and you want to step up and dance. There's songs that are soothing. There's songs that are sad, but in a good way. And the writing, this is the thing as well. You take the musical stuff out, which even the musical stuff to me became believable at the end. The characters are believable. And that's what you find, for myself, I find a lot in musicals. And they touch on this a bit, but they do it in the right ways, where that's the thing. Sometimes I'm not the biggest fan when people say something's a love letter to old cinema and this and that. And I guess the biggest example, when I heard this, I thought about what I thought about, or what I thought when I heard people say that about The Artist. And I watched The Artist, and it just felt like a blatant, it's a good movie, it just felt like such a blatant, like, this is old cinema, and it's great because it's old cinema, you know, but this movie pays tribute to it, but adds upon that, and does it, for me, in a way that I felt really complimented old cinema and shows that new cinema can just be as great and grand, where The Artist to me was just kind of doing old cinema in today's skin, you know, and it was good. I don't know, some people loved it, but for me, that was the thing of, you could pay tribute to old cinema for sure, like Quentin Tarantino does that a lot too, but it's all about how you do it. It's all about it flowing well and not feeling out of place. It's kind of like Easter eggs almost for me in a geek oriented movie, like a Star Wars or a Marvel, you know, like, you do too much or you do it poorly, it really stands out and it sticks a sore thumb on it. Same thing as this for me, old cinema. It's like there's paying tribute and then there's pandering. Ours for me felt like pandering. This feels like paying tribute and then some. But the writing is fantastic because you get the characters, what I was talking about with old cinema, being very theatrical, very stage acting, which it depends the movie, can work and not work. This movie goes back and forth between, not what I'm saying, not as far as not working, it goes back and forth between being realistic and having that theatrical presence with the actors and the scenery and the writing and the score, but they do it again at the right moments. They I was gonna say it's like they planned out, which they did, they write, but it's planned out so effortlessly that you don't really notice it. Like when I'm thinking back to the times where it was very theatrical, it just flowed. Where other times in other movies, you can see it stick out like a sore thumb. Like, okay, this is their over the top moment, or this is when they want you to feel sad, or this is supposed to be a happy scene. You know, where this is. Of course, you can say that with this movie, but it feels natural. It doesn't feel like, in wrestling terms, a cheap pop. It feels earned. It feels like it's desired by you. Like you feel it. You really do. Writing's flawless, like I said. You feel like these are real characters, and when it gets cinematic, when it gets theatrical, it doesn't bug you. It flows perfectly. Cast is great. There's a lot of other good people in here. John Legend makes a small appearance. He's good. I can't remember what his name is. I'm gonna quickly look. He's gonna be a big deal. He's from American Horror Story. He was in The Big Short last year. What's his name? It's Finn Windstroke or something. And Windstroke, I think it is. Another name that I don't know how to pronounce. I think he's going to be a big deal in a few years. He has a smaller role, but the second I saw him popped up, I smiled. I guess I don't want to go on too long, because honestly, I want you to go see this movie. And if you don't like it, tell me why. I guess I could see there's every movie in the world and somebody's not going to like it for sure. And you know what? I could almost understand why, because I think there's a version of me that maybe didn't like this movie, but this version of me loved it. This version of me can't get enough of it. This version of me is going to see it probably a few more times in theaters, to be honest, which takes a lot. It's a romantic musical. If I would have thought 2 months ago, you would have been telling me that I was going to go see a movie, a romance, like musical, songy, feel good, sort of movie multiple times in theaters, I would have laughed. And that's kind of how I went into this movie. I kind of had a chip on my shoulder because I just thought it was going to be one of those movies that everyone loves, and it just wasn't for me. And I've had a lot of those. We all have a lot of those. But though it bugs me, because when it happens, I want to like that movie too. I love the director. I love the cast. So going in, I was like, I really hope this is good. And man, it really was good. This is phenomenal. I've done this 3 other times this year, and this is our first year reviewing movies, so people are going to think I just throw them out. I promise you I don't. I feel like all of them that I gave this to earned it in different ways, whether it's the filmmaking aspect, whether it's my enjoyment, whether it's a combination of the both. This movie is a solid 10. Solid 10. I pulled it back a bit when I said I had no flaws, because I didn't want to spoil the score, but there's nothing I would change, and that's what I mean. Even those first 10 minutes that I didn't like the first time, I know I'm going to like the second time, because I can appreciate where it's going now. Like I said, I thought we were going down a different path. We were, and the editing's so good, and the writing's so good, and the score's so good, and the cast is so good. The cast is so good, primarily Emma Stone and Gosling. This movie is one of these I want to I have not seen everything, so, I'm not a critic. I can't say, this for sure win all the Oscars, because I've not seen Manchester by the Sea. I've not seen Moonlight because of where I am. But as of right now, it's going to take a lot for a movie to outdo this. I think this is actually legitimately my favorite movie of the year. And we've had great movies. I love Deadpool, love Civil War, loved Arrival. I think those were my most favorite ones. Oh, Nice Guys. Fucking Ryan Gosling is killing it. This is transitioning when I say, unless some other films somehow manage to top this, I don't know if they can. For me personally, I want this to win every fucking Oscar it's nominated. This is for sure going to win Best Picture. Mark my words. A lot of people have said that, so it's not like I'm making these big claims. It is it is big sequences, it is great acting, great writing, cinematography, score, about Hollywood, which the Oscars love. This has everything to be a surefire Oscar bona fide hit. The cast, like I said again, this is a movie that makes you mad that Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are like not actually together in real life. You think about Crazy Stupid Love, you think, Gangster Squad, whatever, it wasn't the greatest, but they're still alright together in it. And then you have this one. They are the Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks of this generation. Sorry. But they are impeccable together. They are so good. I want them in every movie. I literally, if there's any romantic movie coming out in the next 10 years, I just want just be those two. Just those two over and over. And like I said, it makes you mad that like, hey, you know what? Like, you guys should separate from who you are and just go together. You guys are just like peanut butter and chocolate. You guys are the best shit since Reese's. Those two kill it. Emma Stone, they both deserve Oscars, but I think Emma Stone has a better shot because I've heard a lot about Casey Affleck. I've not seen Manchester by the Sea, but Ryan Gosling with Nice Guys in this, he's just killing it. He's one of the best in our like he is. It feels like watching early Christian Bale. I know it's a lot of hype because Christian Bale's still not that old, but when he was putting together that string, or even Brad Pitt in the 90s, he's just putting this string of fucking good movies together. And the same could be same for Emma Stone, and that's why I'd have to look, but I don't think there's anybody on a harder streak than her from the past like 5 years. There's nobody that is consistently as good as her. I really have to look. I can't put my statement on her being the best actress, but I think if she's not one, I think she's number two, because she's phenomenal. She's breathtaking in this movie. This movie, I could sit here for another 2 hours and talk about it. Maybe one time around Oscars, maybe I'll talk about it again when I'll go down a list of all of them. Maybe I'll talk a bit more spoilery, but there's not much to talk about spoilery. It's a great movie. Go see it. I know this channel is called The Geekverse. We called that because we wanted, our gimmick was to have we were covering the geek. There's so much geekdom in the world. There's a universe full of it, and we're The Geekverse, and we're covering it all. For film geeks, you need to see this. But even then, if you like video games, if you like TV, if you like anime, I think you should go see this. Or at least, if you don't feel like paying for it, if you're still not sure, wait for Netflix. Just see this movie. I think you'll at least like it, but I think it is a movie that has a message and can speak to anyone out there. Doesn't matter race, gender, sexual orientation. I think this has a message for everybody. I think it's a feel-good message. I think this movie is easily my top 50 favorite movies all time. I want to win every Oscar. I want both Gosling and Emma Stone to win. I want Damien Chazelle to win Best Director. Oh man, what a career this guy's gonna have. Fuck, Whiplash and this. I don't know, like maybe since Scorsese, I'd have to look at who has had a better 1-2 punch. Same thing maybe like a Nolan in the past. Denis Villeneuve is a good example as well. I'm trying to Kubrick, Spielberg, like that's what I mean. Like it's once again, I'm using hyperboles, but this guy is gonna be he is something special. You know what is special? La La Land. Go see it. 10 out of 10 for myself. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm not sure when I'm gonna be on here next, if it's a trailer or a movie. My God, if I'm reviewing a movie next, which I might be, I feel bad for that movie because this is gonna be the last movie I see of 2016. Next movie, I'm never going to be able to give it 10 out of 10 again, I think. Like, I don't know if I'm going to watch movies again, but I'm going to watch La La Land again. Thank you very much for watching me. See you later.